Hello and welcome to Brodual. This time we have JK's Riverwood. It's been a while since we've seen any new overhauls in the JK City series. The last time we covered one of these it was focusing on Riften, which followed the rest of the main cities of Skyrim. Now JK is taking on the smaller settlements and villages and is starting off with Riverwood. Riverwood is probably the most iconic village in the game. Not only was it probably the first village you visited, but it's also where you might have picked up your first side quest, or even where you started one of the main quest lines. Like the other mods in the series, it aims to stay in line with the area's original design. It doesn't add new scripted events or dozens of NPCs and new buildings. Instead it expands on its themes and offers a collection of minor enhancements to create a more unique and lively city. Like a lot of the villages in Skyrim, Riverwood's main income comes from its timber. You even get involved yourself, either chopping wood or by working at the mill. As such, the mod expands on that by adding several new pieces that highlight trade in the village. There's plenty more timber lying around in all shapes and sizes. Some have been recently cut, whereas others are laying in carts or boats waiting to be delivered to nearby cities. The mod also heavily expands on the docks, adding several new walkways to open things up a bit. You can now walk around the back of Alvor's house and find yourself in a much more cluttered outer area. Most of the empty space has been used up, and there's a bunch of extra spaces for fishing or just extra walkways that lead you outside the village. On top of that, the other side of the town you'll find a basic training area. There's a few different archery signs and a couple of different dummies. We think it fits in great. Not only because it makes sense that Faendal will set up the archery targets and that Alvor would probably want you to test out his forged weapons, but because Riverwood also acts as a type of tutorial village. So having these practice dummies lying around makes for a great way to test out any new weapons you looted during your escape from Helgen. It's probably not going to affect experienced players, but it's a nice touch nonetheless. The rest of the changes mostly affect the individual buildings. As I said earlier, the mod doesn't add any new buildings or NPCs, so Riverwood's core shape stays the same. However, most buildings have been touched up a bit to make them stand out amongst the rest. Alvor's blacksmith area comes with several new features. The area is now cornered off with metal bars and decorated with shields, but on top of that there's also now a new smelter. These changes help make it look a little more professional and separate, which helps give it that unique edge. Several other buildings also have sheltered storage out back. What they have depends on the building. For example, Sven's home only needs some wood to light fires, so they just have basic storage. However, the Riverwood Trader and the Sleeping Giant Inn store their more sensitive goods behind a locked gate. The inn's farm area has also been expanded with some extra chickens and a stable for a horse, and the other farm has a new wall. And that's it for the bigger changes. However, there's a bunch of smaller finishing touches that you might have seen in the video, and while these will have an effect on performance, it isn't as dramatic as some of the more cluttered city overhauls we see. But you should still expect a small drop in performance, especially when hanging around the centre or more busy areas of the village. You can also dramatically change the final outcome with some extra touches like a texture overhaul, but of course adding that will also cause a drop in performance. But just for the sake of it, this is what the village looks like with a texture overhaul and Immersive Roads, both of which are linked in the description below. And that's it for today's spotlight. If you're interested in trying out the latest JK mod, then you can find everything you need down below. And as always, be sure to leave an endorsement on any mod you enjoy, and thanks for watching.